Hello and welcome to episode 5 of Double Pivot, our first of 2026. Really excited to get this season underway. For those of you who don't know us, I'm Andrew, that's Timmy, and we're your holding midfielders here on Double Pivot. We're two guys from Section 205 pretend to know ball, and we will be back in 205 for this next season. For the actual ball knowers out there, write in the chat. Tell us who is the deep line playmaker and who is the destroyer. We're your co-hosts for the show, and we appreciate all of you who are joining us in the live chat tonight. While you're there, make sure you give us a like and a subscribe. Now, as we always do here on Double Pivot, let's cozy up, grab your espresso. Let's get started. First espresso of the season is hitting like crack. This is glad to be back. Glad to be back. So, got another great episode planned for you tonight, and let's start by pulling in my co-host Timmy. Timmy, first time we're doing this in a while. How was your off season, Ben?
It's been pretty good. It's nice to remember having other hobbies outside of following the team, producing content for Tide Talk, BSing with you guys all day long, which actually that really hasn't changed in the off season. But yeah, I've been busy, like, again, doing other hobbies, watched a lot of movies, read a lot of books, cooked a lot. It's been great. How about you?
Out the window when the regular season starts back up, like you
honestly, yes. At a much slower rate. So it has been nice. And for the first month or two, I'm like, wow, I could kind of get used to this. But now we're so close to the season coming back. I'm getting very excited again. So yeah, this should be a good one tonight. Did you do anything for Valentine's Day?
No. We had the kids home. It's tough with the kids and stuff. So my wife and kids made a heart-shaped pizza, and we kind of just hung out for the day. So it was nice. And we have a trip planned for the kids, or for the February vacation too. So didn't want to go out and expose ourselves too much to anyone getting sick. So it was nice. But we've never been much of a celebrators for Valentine's Day either. So I saw you guys were kind of sharing small gifts that you and your spouses got for each other. We don't really do that, which is nice. It makes my a little bit easier for me.
That was actually very confusing, because I would say Jess and I have been together for 13 years. I would say for the last 10, she has not gotten me anything for Valentine's Day, which is totally fine. I'll get her a card, flowers, chocolate, simple, no gifts. And then yesterday, just out of the blue, she did have a gift for me, which again, I shared with you guys, was a beautiful 4K physical copy of the movie Arrival, which was a huge blind spot in my physical media collection. So couldn't have been more excited, but I was surprised by the decision to get me a gift this year.
She sprung it on you. Oh yeah, that sucks. Yeah, I'll usually do flowers. My wife got me some dark chocolate peanut butter cups, which I wasn't expecting to, but the flowers is good, and especially with my daughter too. Just split the flowers in half, and they're both happy. But yeah, you can't just be springing new gifts, like good gifts.
Yeah, no, I was blown away, but very excited. So yeah, I guess, getting into this episode, like Andrew said, got a good one planned here today. I think we've got some pretty interactive segments. So seeing the chat is pretty active. Very excited to have you all play along. We're going to go through all of the roster moves from this offseason so far. We're going to go through and kind of grade, but there has been some major news this past week, and we want to make sure to speak about that. This wasn't my lead-in to talk about the new season of Club Collector launching, but I forgot to mention that. So we're also going to speak about that. If we can get this video to 15 thumbs up by the time that Quadros and I get to the Club Collector tease section, we have a code that we're able to drop. If we don't get to 15 likes on this video, we're going to have to leave it for Matt and Ryan. So hopefully you guys can pump the thumbs up button here. If you want that Club Collector code.
I've already done it, and you probably will too. So hopefully we can get there.
Oop, I had not thumbs up it. I just added mine. So
there you go.
You're welcome, everyone who needs the Club Collector code. So the folks in the chat are asking what news. There was some big news this weekend. I think it came out yesterday afternoon. Matthew and Dongo no longer with the team.
Shocking. Wow. Holy shit.
So now just a little joke here. The news that we want to open this episode talking about, I think it's on a lot of Rhode Island FC fans' mind. It's definitely on the sickos' minds. I don't know how big of news this is for the casual fan, but came out Friday afternoon, surprise to just about everyone, as far as I know. club president David Peart, which is the club's second president in only 2 seasons, parted ways with the club was basically the way that the announcement was phrased. So there's probably robust discussion to be had here, but I'm just going to kick it to you, Andrew, first to share your initial thoughts when you saw that announcement.
Yeah, it was crazy. I'll actually read it really quick because it was a pretty short announcement, and I think it hit 2:30 on Friday. So RFC announced that the company and club president David Peart have parted ways. We thank David for his contributions to the organization and wish him the best, said RIFC co-founder and chairman Brett Johnson. Sean Carey will serve as the interim president. Carey's been with the club since its inception, serving as assistant GM. He brings extensive experience and a long history of involvement in soccer throughout New England with his deep understanding of the club's sporting vision, operational structure, and community relationships provides important continuity during this transition. The search for a permanent club president will begin immediately. The club remains focused on preparing for the 2026 season and continuing to build strong connections within the Rhode Island community. So the thing that jumped out at me the most, aside from the fact that they spent more time talking about Sean Carey than about David Peart's contributions, is the search for a permanent club president will begin immediately. So that 2:30 on a Friday, hearing that instantly tells you, all right, he got fired, because that's not a planned mutual agreement type of thing. On the eve of the season, with it being so close to the beginning of the year, we figured that something was up, that this wasn't something that had been planned for. So going into the third season, now going into our third permanent club president, it tells you something about what was happening there. And we've heard, plenty of rumors or discussion of maybe Peart and the staff, or there's different gripes that people have had that we can kind of get into in terms of how things were managed. So it wasn't a complete shock per se, but it was more shocking in terms of the timing and the immediacy of it, and the fact that it felt like something must have happened for it to have triggered to the point where that search is going to begin now. Now, I've been in the corporate world for long enough to know that the search is not beginning just now. They probably had been mulling this for a while, and maybe that the decision was more immediate. But it would be shocking if they didn't have someone in the door, or someone that they've identified, or a short list. You need to get that going. You can't be starting that search fresh. But the fact that they're saying that they're beginning that search immediately tells me, that this was something that they came up with rather quickly and urgently, and felt like they needed to make a move. So it's pretty surprising. And we were surprised when the Brett Louie thing happened, because he hadn't been on the job for a while. It was in May of the first season or something. We were still getting ramped up in our inaugural season. So to see it happen now before the start of our third season just tells me what's been going on behind the scenes. How was he getting along with his staff, with the board, with Brett, with anyone else that's managing the club, with Kano? It feels like there's something that's probably been off in that front office, and this is how it's come out. And hopefully they make a good decision on whoever's coming in next. So those are my initial reactions, and I'm curious, what were yours as you saw that on Friday afternoon?
My very first thought was good riddance. See you later. Would have volunteered to drive you to the airport. Upon further reflection, I do think his tenure is more complicated than that, and there's a lot of bad or perceived bad in the way that we all feel about it. But I think if you probably take a step back and look objectively at what he was brought in to do and what his goals were, I think it probably was more of a mixed bag. And we don't know the specific reasons that he was fired. And I completely agree with you. I think all of the signs point to this having been a firing and not something that was planned, and not his decision to leave. But
it's not. And the reason I know for a fact that it's not is because and sorry to cut you off. On Thursday, the USL released their front office awards, and he won an award for president or best club president. He posted on LinkedIn Friday morning, being appreciative of the award, and saying we're building something great here. The culture we're building. Yeah. It was all of the tune of just this is great, everything is great. And then within hours of that LinkedIn post, this news broke. So he must have been blindsided by it, and there's no way there was anything mutual about this, because that post wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, and I'm I'm pretty sure that I'm already getting jumped on for that initial read that I just gave. So I don't want to. So Ryan Healy posted a great write-up with his feelings, and I think pretty well summarized a lot of the fan base's feelings on the article. I don't want to. I know you have some excerpts prepared from that, so I don't want to step on those, but I want to elaborate a little bit on kind of what I was referencing. One is none of us really know the specifics of exactly how the club is run. So we really are only speculating on what is David Peart's decision, what are other people in the front office's decision. What we do know is he was the president. So if there was something that he didn't like the way it was running, whether or not it was his decision, he should have had the authority to step in and change whatever that was. I think it's pretty widely believed that he was brought in as kind of like the business, finance, probably hit the financial goals team president with other sports experience. And if that's how he was being evaluated, taking out of it all the things that we didn't like as fans, probably viewed as pretty successful. He oversaw a 92% year-over-year increase in attendance as he opened the new stadium, averaging almost 8,300 fans per match over 19 matches. I mean, that's all roughly 80% full for the entire season. I think whether or not that many people were actually in the building, I think those numbers will look really good to advertisers, sponsors, people who are looking at the stadium. He also, we feel like, pretty much was reaching into our pocket or overcharging for just about everything outside of the tickets, merch, parking, concessions, all of the above, incredibly expensive. All I'm saying, probably did pretty well financially. Okay, everyone's telling me stadium size. I'm aware of stadium size. I'm telling you how someone in his position is going to promote himself and explain what he did. He would call that a 92% year over year increase. That's just what the numbers say. And I want to talk about all of the bad parts because, like I said, my initial reaction was good riddance. I'm just giving the other side of the argument and why I think some people would probably view his tenure as pretty successful.
Yeah, no, it's a fair point, and it's something that I was mulling myself as I was thinking about this move, and I think in general, most people that are diehard fans of the club and have a lot of these different gripes are probably looking at that and thinking, yeah, maybe good riddance, but we don't know what he was tasked with. And I to kind of mix a sports analogy here, the Red Sox for a while, we've been miserable with how they've been managed and mad at how the general manager has managed this team. But I keep going back to the idea that the general manager is just doing what the owner's telling him to. So if the owner is telling him, be stingy, don't pay up for big players, don't get a big payroll on the books, don't act like a big market team, and he's doing that, yeah, he's the face of it, but he's doing what he's supposed to be doing. So we don't know what he was asked to do. And what we do know is that he was brought in to be more of a revenue and financials guy. And that's part of the reason that, or the main reason that Bert Louis was let go, is he had more of a soccer background, but maybe not as much of a background in terms of maximizing revenue. So maybe he did what he was supposed to. Doesn't mean we have to be happy about it or sad to see him go, because regardless of what his goals were, it felt like something was off. And there were a lot of different complaints that we as fans have had. And with this move, you hope that they're bringing in someone now that can do both. Like, I don't begrudge the team for trying to maximize their revenue, but you got to do it in the right ways. And one of the things that we heard consistently in the years that this team has been in existence, before they ever kicked the ball, we heard in interviews from Brett Johnson and others, is that we want it to be a family affordable experience. I think that they've done their best job of making the ticket prices themselves an affordable experience, but literally every other piece of the experience on match day is prohibitively expensive. The parking is expensive. Like you said, I don't want to go down the whole list, but the concessions alone, like there's no cheap concessions there. I went to Gillette for a Patriots game and got a Treehouse beer, which is generally a very expensive beer. And it was the same price as me getting like a regular domestic beer or premium beer that was just like a Corona or something at the stadium. So like everything about this has been more expensive, and I felt like we have been nickel and dimed, and that's part of the complaints that people have had. So I agree. I mean, I'm happy when I heard the news, but I do want to take it a little bit more judiciously and say, well, he might have been doing what he was asked to do. So is the next person going to do the same thing?
Yeah, I'm getting called a bootlicker. So can we talk about the bad stuff?
Yeah, yeah. So what you see here, own goals and opportunities, was a great write-up by Ryan that he posted earlier today. I refer to it as a must-read for all Rhode Island FC fans because it is. He did a really good job in putting in some good facts and figures and kind of laying out the good and bad over the tenure that we had with David Peart. And what I want to do here is just read a few excerpts, and I still will ask you all to give that a click and a read because it was very good, and he added some Tide Talk humor into it, which is always welcomed. But I want to look at.
There's one piece that Ryan was very generous on, and Matt Kerwin is in the chat calling for us to hit on it, and we definitely will. I want to make sure that we do touch on that point. Okay. Ryan went very, very light on this point in his article.
Okay, so if I don't address it here, then definitely bring that up. So first one, at numerous points of the last season, Defiance 1636 delivered reports to the front office going into extreme detail and observed shortcomings from the club. Do you know how desperate you have to be to sign up for a group project as adults completely in your spare time? In a document that over 130 fans signed, which can be read at the link that Ryan provided, the fans went into detail around inconsistent communication, extreme price increases, stadium experience, and more. Timmy and I were a part of that coming together. We weren't the ones that led the way. The other people did a lot more work than we did on that, but we got to see kind of the sausage being made. There were plenty of comments that ranged all sorts of different topics. This was a very detailed document that we had no trouble getting a lot of different people to sign. And to give credit where credit is due, Patrick McKenna, also part of the Tide Talk team, he was really the one that led the way on this throughout the whole process and got to present it to the front office directly in a meeting. How much of that has actually been addressed, how much of it has actually been taken seriously is to be seen. I mean, this was like mid to late last season, and we saw some changes. But I think what really, the reason I wanted to bring up this excerpt is because there is an insane amount of feedback that you were getting midway through your second season as a club. You have a very passionate fan base here. And when they have that strong of a feedback, I think it tells you about what's been happening at the club in terms of the way they've been managing things and the way that things have gone. And people really wanted to be vocal enough to organize this big effort to go and make that happen.
Yeah, I mean, this even goes back to an earlier point of something that rubbed me the wrong way right as soon as his presidency started, which is Brett Louie set something up, or his team did, a fan advisory council before their first season started. That was a collection of fans. I think there was 7 of us, diverse backgrounds, people who were looking to get different things out of the team, families, people sitting in different sections, all of the above. They were looking for just like an assortment of feedback from all types of fans from the team that they could get candidly, and they could also bounce new ideas off of the fan advisory council and get input before rolling out these ideas. We had one meeting. Brett Louie was gone. Never heard a single word again. So I can't necessarily say that Peart didn't want to hear the feedback. I don't know if he ever knew the group existed. I assume that he did and just didn't care to continue that. I know the board of Defiance 1636 does an amazing job working with the front office, communicating on behalf of the fans. But I also think that's a different relationship in my mind than hearing candid feedback from fans outside of the Defiance 1636 experience. So right off the bat, just on the theme of like, it never felt like he really cared all that much about what the fans were thinking or wanting. That was right out of the gate something that irritated me. And I think that's why we needed to create that report. He wasn't soliciting or hearing feedback elsewhere or looking for it from fans, which I just thought was something very frustrating.
Yeah, or it was happening very topically with like the post-match survey links that go out. But what did that turn into? And I mean, in that meeting, I mean, when it was presented by Patrick, it seemed like they were receptive to it. But what came out of that afterwards, right? So definitely frustrating to see what is probably a high proportion of their revenue base, and in terms of like the diehard fans that are season ticket holders that are going to all these different matches and spending money on merch and doing all these different things, giving a lot of feedback. And some of the feedback is like, hey, we want to help you make money. This wasn't just complaints of like, hey, you're charging too much. It's also, we went into a ton of detail on the merch situation, which I think we're going to get to next in my next excerpt. it was also, let us help you make money. We want you to make money. And even those suggestions weren't really being held up. So, all right. So next excerpt, we can get to it here. With a remit of driving revenue for the club, the clearest own goal was the lack of consistent merchandise, the merch quality, and hostile pricing. During the 2020-25 season, the two main kits, the Energy and Road kit, which were the kits for the 2024 season, were out of stock for the majority of the season. The Wave kit had an exciting launch, then was unavailable for the majority of the season. So there's kind of two different things I want to hit on here. One is the whole kit situation was fucked up from the start. There should have been a new kit that got released for the 2025 season. It was missed by David and his staff, whoever it was. It should have been done. It seemed like there was momentum to have one created, and it just wasn't done in time. And then when they finally released it midway through the season, David Peart tried to frame it as, well, we didn't want to gouge our fans, and that's why we didn't put out a new one, which is complete and utter bullshit. Like that's a horrible excuse to say that's right. Why you didn't want to put out a new one.
But by any, I was just thinking about this. Do you remember? I think he was on Raising Anchor when he made that comment. I wanted to remember when he said it because we have clips, YouTube shorts of Matt Kerwin on Tide Talk saying, if you're not going to have a new kit, it was Matt and Ryan saying, like, just lie to me, do what Luton Town did and say, we love the inaugural kit so much. Like, that's why we're not going to have a new one. Do anything to get ahead of it. He maybe that was right before the season started. I honestly think that the season had already started when he even made those comments. So that was
it was absolutely
a lie.
It was
right. It was during the season, but they didn't count the season as having started until the stadium opened. So it was probably in March or April when they were barely paying attention to the fact that there was a team playing soccer.
And I think
but that was a lie.
It was, and I think the underlying issue here is that there wasn't enough of a connection to the community and to the core RAFC supporters to really understand the impact of these decisions or how to make the right decisions. And maybe the focus, and Ryan hit on this a little bit in his article, maybe the focus was never us. The focus was always, how do you bring in new people? It's always the new customer as opposed to the existing customer, which is a big own goal, as Ryan said. The merch situation overall, and a lot of time was spent on it in the feedback, which again, it was linked to in Ryan's article, so please go in there and check it out and read through it. The merch situation was a disaster. It's been a disaster really since the start, between the team store hours, which have gotten a little bit better, availability of merchandise, the kits themselves, which is how we got started in this conversation. The kits themselves have not been available. The Amber kit wasn't available from the end of the 2024 season through at least halfway through the 2025 season. When stuff was made available, it was only made available in batches, partially in the team store, which is only available on game days. My kid wanted a kit. They didn't have fucking youth kits for a lot of them. The Wave kit had a big announcement. We did a big kit reveal and everything else. And then it was hard to find after that. I know you personally are still waiting on an exchange of sizes for your kit. They screwed up.
It was available for 2 months. The Wave kit was available for 2 months, from the end of July to the beginning of October.
So that was
it hasn't been available in regular sizes since then.
Right. And I don't even know if it's available now. Then in November, we saw that the team was doing all of their daily giveaways to followers on social media or whatever, or season ticket holders. I forgot whatever it was. And one of the winners received the free ticket or whatever to the kit reveal event. That was in November. The season starts 3 weeks from yesterday, and we still have no idea if and when a kit's going to come out. It sounds like there is one coming, and likely before the start of the season. But how was it that there was no kit reveal? How was it that we have no idea if one is coming? They changed their branding and all the colors in their branding months ago, and there's still been nothing about it. So that entire situation has been really screwed up. So merch in general, and this is when we talk about the feedback that we were giving, we're saying we want to give you money. People are dying to spend more money. The lack of availability, the lack of just variability in what they were actually making available in terms of the different lines of merchandise that they had, like all of it has just been a disaster. The online store has been a disaster. It was shut down. The season started last year at home, and the store wasn't open. Not the team store, the online store. People couldn't spend money on this club. So maybe the revenue situation was good overall in terms of what their expectations were, but it could have been much better. And to Ryan Ford in the article, you look at our neighbors up north in Portland, and they're doing a much better job in terms of how much they're making up of that revenue. And people are dying for more, and it's not happening. So I think this was a big faux pas by David Peart as well. Anything else out there?
No, other than we should definitely hit on the thing a lot of people are asking about, which is everyone's favorite ticket rep.
It
And
is my
then
last one.
I was going to say we're also shooting for an hour here, folks, and we're cutting
This was
it.
the big topic. This was the big topic.
Yeah. Also, one other, just for anyone who wasn't here at the start, we said we have a Club Collector Tide Talk code. But we're only going to give it out if the video hits 15 likes. We're not quite there yet. And that will come after the report card segment, which is next. So if you're playing the new season of Club Collector, this can help you get your collection started.
I see. I don't think you posted this comment, but Ryan asked if you think wearing the black was the problem. Well, from the front office's perspective, I think it was the problem. I don't know. Maybe we should consider doing that for the home opener too, just as a funeral for
the fact that there's enough things to talk through that like that entire shit show is low enough on the list that we probably won't even touch on it is a testament to like how messy this all really was.
What that turning looked like. All right, so for the final one here, sticking the supporters group with a ticket rep who was incredibly unqualified and so ineffective that a 10-page binder of complaints had to be delivered to the club in an attempt to make a change. To their credit, the club has not resolved the issue. After a lot of complaints, the club did resolve the issue, but for those of you that aren't aware, the ticket rep that was assigned to the supporters group was David Peart's son, Tyler, who was on the staff. All indications that we had gotten for a while since he was there was that it seemed like the other staff members didn't really like working with him, that he wasn't very well liked. But the worst part about it is that he was, at least in terms of the part of his job that dealt with the supporters and the supporters group, was shit at his job. Like, he just wasn't good at it. He was extremely irresponsive. There were a number of complaints in the Discord. I mean, I think there are some front office members that might have been in Discord that saw it, where there were complaints of unresponsiveness, of things not being made available to the people that he was assigned to, and all of these complaints kind of went on deaf ears for the majority of the season. So it's kind of just like you had a really good rep, or you had Tyler, and Tyler was very difficult to deal with, but he coasted. Right. I mean, I saw him at the beginning of last season. I think it was him and David were doing an appearance together at the Providence College School of Business. Like, they were a pair. So I think to have David or Tyler get pulled along into a job here, probably getting preferential treatment over others, and then being shit at his job was a significant problem. And again, the core of your supporters here are in that supporters group. They're the Defiance members. And this is the service that they were getting, which is just putrid. It was a terrible decision kind of across the board. So that was remediated, I think, late last year, and there's a much better situation now. But that took way too long for it to be fixed. So anything else to add on Tyler before we kind of get to a statement that Tyler himself made?
I do have something else to add, which is like I want to make perfectly clear, and you said it. One is the other ticket reps are fantastic. I think you and I both have Amelia, and
she's the best.
Literally cannot say enough good things about her. Mm-hmm. My dad just bought a 5-game plan through her. Can't say enough good things. Has been flawless for two plus years now. I just wanted to also say on the level of service people were getting from Tyler, that wasn't like some Discord Defiance 1636 narrative that like snowballed and became just like everyone was shitting on him for no reason. Like I had fans completely outside of the supporters group and Discord discourse and coworkers who ended up having him that just were having like the most miserable experiences, again, without knowing that any of this conversation was going on. They would say like they would have a phone conversation with him and then the next day talk to him again, like the last conversation had never even happened. Couldn't get straight answers. They got wrong information from him all the time. Like, this was not like a specific we just didn't like him thing. Like, the feedback was unanimously incredibly negative. Like, was not competently doing his job at all.
Yeah, my sister, who's not in Defiance, had him as a rep, and she was trying to renew before that early renewal window late last year, and she couldn't get a hold of him. He wasn't sending her information. She couldn't talk to him. She finally got a hold of him like late on whatever that final day was, and he called her from like some party that he was at, and she said that he was like eating the whole time, like barely paying attention to the conversation. So it's just, yeah, I feel like there was probably a sense of entitlement there in terms of the way he attempted to do his job.
Yeah, and Matt asked and said that we could read this comment out. I knew this, wasn't going to necessarily mention it. So Matt says, he called me offering season tickets the day my house was burning down. I already had season tickets. I told him what was happening. He doubled down and called me back the next day. Like, just, I don't even know if I can elaborate on that. I think that speaks for itself. I don't know what I can say to add to that story. That is just one of the most ridiculous things I've heard in my entire life.
Matt's told us the story. He's kind of underplaying it here. He said he was literally standing there watching his house burn while he got that call. Just absolutely ridiculous. So moving on to the final point here. I think it was the day of, or was it the day after the announcement that David was leaving? So it was either Friday or yesterday. On the Instagram account of Tyler, which we've always found funny that his handle is Hail to Peart. I think that kind of tells you about his personality. Post this.
He also, there's some background here that he has, during the season, including while he was servicing the Defiant 1636 season ticket member base, he would periodically go through and block every fan that he knew associated with the team, and then sometimes unblock. Like, I think a bunch of us were blocked and then unblocked periodically throughout the season, which is just like, you're thinking way too much about it, pal.
Yeah. So this meme I've seen many times before, and I'm looking at this, and I still don't really get what his point is. Is he saying that Rhode Island was very close to getting like competent output from him and his dad, and they just pulled the plug on it too soon? Like, how else do you interpret what this even means?
My only addition to that is, like, I almost think that's too smart of an interpretation of the meme, like, for how he meant it. Like, I think he just thought him and his dad had all of these like $1 million ideas, and like the club essentially like wasted them and wouldn't take them up on it. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I don't know what else it is. So Tyler, if you're listening, if you want to comment on this, I know Matt and Ryan would love to have you on the show next week, or just drop us a DM and kind of explain yourself there, because I generally don't know what this means. Clearly he's not happy about it. He'll be posting this either the day of or the day after his dad got let go, and we also found out that Tyler was gone at some point in the last few weeks. We don't know how that went down, if he left on his own accord or what it might be. Maybe he saw the writing on the wall, but this is just baffling. Like, you just keep your mouth shut, man. Like, what are you posting here?
It's a very strange way to go out. But like you said, yeah. If you got dirt you want to share, hit us up. I'm sure you'd be thrilled to do that after we just shit on you for the last 10 minutes. But
defend yourself. Tell us what really happened. Yeah. I know for a fact.
What's the matter, vague boy? You scared of saying something?
Exactly. All right. Anything else to add to this situation? Outside, the last thing I'll just say, and not about Tyler, but I hope that whoever they bring in next has not only the pedigree to run a club, but understands this sport and understands this community, or is willing to put in the work to understand this community and really make this club what it should be, which is what we were missing from the last guy.
Absolutely agree.
Cool.
So, all right. We're gonna get into this report card. We're gonna do like a minute each on each transaction.
Yeah, we'll fly through this. We'll be good. We're turning over a new leaf here on Double Pivot. We're not going to go 2 hours anymore. We're going to try to target an hour, which means it's going to be like an hour and 45 minutes, but we'll get it down.
Yeah, pace. Let's move the ball. Exactly. Let's do what the team couldn't do last year. Pace.
Exactly. All right, so I think you got control of the screen share there, but what we did here is just list out all of the roster moves that have happened since the last season ended. So there's a big one here and that second one in terms of the initial roster moves, which are the majority of them. But then we did see a number of different moves that happened as we expected, with re-signings, transfers out, new signings in. So we'll go through it one by one in the order that they happened. And Timmy, I feel like, is an asshole for putting Georgia first, because I think he probably knew what I was going to say.
Yeah, but, not a troll job. Not a troll job. These are
it wasn't order. All right, so to soften it a little bit, I'm going to have you go first, and you take the resending of Jaguar.
Okay, I'm happy to. And again, I'm gonna keep it quick. We could both talk forever about these. Honestly, we're gonna keep it quick in the interest of time. So this came before the initial roster moves. I thought Jojea might be one of the players who would move on, but I actually think this is a pretty good re-signing. I think I'm going to give this a B. Regardless of how you feel about him, and I admit I think he had a frustrating low production season last year. He only had 1 goal and 1 assist last season. I think he still had the 3rd most chances created on the team last season with 25 chances created. And in 2024, he had 3 goals and 6 assists for 9 total goal contributions, number 2 on the team with 51 chances created. So you can talk, and I think you will, about all of the wasted opportunities that go in before those goals and assists and chances created, but they've got to come from somewhere. I really like him in that left wing back spot. Don't like him as much in those 2 forward positions. So I'm good with this. I'm happy with this. I'd like it to be like a platoon with him and Al there at left wing back. What grade do you have?
Yeah, I'm trying to take these through the prism of how they fit into the broader picture with all the moves. Because at the time, I didn't like the move at all. Because it was we thought he might be gone. I mean, he was really pissed off at the way the last season ended. Not so much at the club or anything, but with USL refs. I mean, the last thing that we saw from him was him getting a red card. So like I think he was frustrated with the league, and I was curious to see what he was going to do. I didn't want him to return because I wanted them to just try something different and to have someone who's a little bit more efficient. So overall, I think I'll give this one a C+. I like him as a person. Like, he's super kind to us. He's been very nice to Tide Talk.
Hilarious too.
He seems like a genuinely really nice guy. I've just been very frustrated with his game over the past season, really the past season, the beginning of the first season. And I think in the second half of that first season, he was really exciting and effective, and it wasn't there. I'm only giving him a chance because I'm going to give everybody a chance here. It could just be the way that the system played out. It could be that he's much better in terms of at least his effectiveness and how I would see his performance for this year. But overall, I would have preferred that they tried something else, because it also felt like we were kind of stuck with him in many ways in terms of how our setup needed to be. So I'll give that one a C+, but I'm hoping he has a good year, because when he's on, he is a dangerous player. He wasn't on for me as I was watching him for all of last year.
One more. No. I'm going to hold this comment because we're going chronological order. But I have one more thought on Jojea. But
right.
So we'll let you grade first for the initial roster moves. But just for everyone's clarity, like, this is referring to the full release that happened. This happened 4 hours after the Quizera re-signing. So we essentially re-signed all of the key players from 2025, and that includes a lot of key players from 2024 as well. The options declined were Cole Dewhurst, Will Meyer, Isaac Anking, and Taimu Okioshi. And out of contract, we had Joe Brito retire, Mark Ibarra, Rio Hopegund, and Jackson Lee. So how did you feel about just that full initial roster update?
I was very torn, because I coming off of last season, I really wanted there to be a reset on the team. I wanted there to be more turnover, and just to really shake things up, because we had a lot of consistency in terms of going from year 1 to year 2, and it didn't really work out. And I don't know if it was the system, maybe there was some entitlement coming in, maybe the teams, like the players, just weren't getting along as well. I don't know what it was, but I wanted there to be a shakeup, and for there to be more of a drive to really for different people to earn their spot going into this year. So I didn't love the fact that we were bringing in so many. But then, as we saw, some of these guys were transferred out, and one of them in particular I wanted to see go. So that kind of did end up shaking out. So I think it's just a little bit of education for us in the future too. These initial roster moves are initial. So what you see there is not the list. Some of those guys that haven't signed will sign. Some of the guys that have signed will end up going. So overall, I think maybe bringing the core back, but then being selective of who's coming in and out makes sense. So I'll give that one a B+.
B+. I'm gonna go A-. I agree with a lot of what you said. I thought we maybe kept like 1 or 2 too many players. I would have liked to see us shake it up a little bit, but overall, and I said it at the time, I think we are the gold standard, even above like Louisville, definitely above Charleston if you look at their offseason. But as far as roster continuity, roster retention, I think we are as good as it gets, and that does count for a lot. So I'll go A-. But like you said, Doesn't necessarily mean all those players are going to stick around. So I'll kick it to you for your grade on the first outgoing transfer of this offseason, which was Maxi Rodriguez.
A shocking one, yeah. Really quickly, I do think it's worth just doubling down on your point of we've given flowers to the team for their ability to carry over and have multi-year contracts. And I think that is important in this league. The players are still in the midst of a contract dispute with the CBA. It's entirely possible that the season doesn't actually start in less than 3 weeks. We might get to there, and there could be a strike because there is no new agreement in place. But the fact that the team has been more aggressive in getting guys signed for multiple years and trying to bring them back and then working it out is a much preferred situation than some of these other clubs that you're seeing across the USL that seems like they're just like ripping up their roster every year and then having to rebuild from scratch. So for that, I think it's good that they're bringing players back in bulk and then figuring out what those last pieces are. For Maxi Rodriguez, this is a tricky one as well because you can look at it as just the transfer out and grade it that way. I prefer to grade this on the overall context of the Maxi era and the decision to bring him in, how he was utilized, and then the decision to let him go. So I give this one an F, not because I think that he absolutely needed to be on the team this year, but because it was a giant failure in the way that the plan that they didn't have, I should say, when they brought him in. Like that he was grossly misutilized. I felt like they were moving him and many others all the way around to try to figure out different ways to maximize this roster, and it never worked. So this is an F in terms of the plan for Maxi from the start, and transferring him out is an admission of guilt that they were just never able to make it work. And that there are some people here, probably Sean Buxton, who was looking at that and calling it an A because he was happy for Maxi to go because he felt that this was more of a Maxi problem than a Kano or Rhode Island FC problem. I don't put as much blame on Maxi. And maybe we'll see it. We'll see how he does at Detroit City this year. If he has a great year, I think it solidifies that it was a coaching and tactical problem. If he has a shit year, maybe he just fell off and there isn't anything the club could do. But I look at this and just say the club failed Maxi and they failed the fans who brought in a splash signing and didn't have a plan for him. Of course, it's an A+ from Sean. I'm not shocked.
Yeah. So in fairness, there's like a couple of F's in the chat and there's a couple of A's in the chat. So polarizing one, very interesting. I'm going to go somewhere in the middle. I'm much closer to, I'm going to go D. I'm much closer to, I think this was a total failure of the player. I think it's a really bad look for future USL veterans. Maxi was coming off first team all league season with Detroit. He came for one year and then straight back. So I think other players might look at that and think, oh, maybe the grass isn't always greener, even in a nice, fancy new stadium. So hated it from that perspective. The only reason I can bring it up from an F is that's probably a pretty decent chunk of salary off the books, and we weren't using him by the end of the season. So that's money saved, and wasn't a total free transfer. Supposedly there was a transfer fee exchanged, whether that was like a pack of gum from Detroit to Rhode Island, probably. But that's kind of the only upside to it, I guess.
I think that's the hard part about this, because I actually think if we were going to have another year like this past year, then it's a good thing that they moved on from him, because it would have been soaking up too much of the salary budget to just have all the frustrations that we had last year. So in that respect, it was a good transfer out. I'm just grading it on the totality of his time here and the lack of a plan.
Agreed. Definitely. Yeah, you hate to see like our first marquee signing integrating into the existing team just like totally flop like that. Next we had an incoming, which was the signing of Leo Afonso. I might be butchering how you say the last name, but I'm going with a B+ for this one. I'm really excited. Actually, I might go A-. I'm really excited. I have a really good feeling about this signing. He's 24 years old. He was in the 2024 MLS Super Draft, which has been very, very kind to us so far. He's jumped between MLS and MLS Next Pro, which is kind of like that awkward level of you don't know how good they're going to be in USL. But a stat that I pulled from Ryan's write-up when Afonso signed was he was averaging 1.1 goals per 90 minutes in the 2024 MLS Next Pro season, which was the 97th percentile for forwards. I think he was kind of playing as like a striker there. I believe he's going to play, I'm hoping, as that like right-sided attacking mid / right wing position. I think he's also probably the, in light of an upcoming transfer here, I think he's probably also the JJ depth striker, which makes me a little worried. But as far as him playing as one of those two, like attacking off of JJ positions, I have a really good feeling about this signing. Think he's going to score a lot of goals for us. So I'm gonna go A-.
So I agree with everything you just said, and for all the same reasons, but I'm going to give it an A+ for that, because where we needed help, hands down, last year was on the attacking side. So to have someone that has the flexibility to be a striker or play either wing position is great to me, because you needed to add in that position. You needed guys who are versatile. You needed guys that can score. It's hard to know what he is, because we've only seen a few videos until we actually get to, like, it sucks that we can't watch any preseason action. We can't see what this team looks like. We can't see how they're setting up. We can't see where people are playing. So we have no idea what he is. So we're kind of going off of what we've seen and what his stats have been. So for that reason, just judging it off of what we do know, I give it an A+, because I'm praying that he is either in the mix for striker, or I'd rather him be a winger and then a backup striker. I still feel like there's a lack of depth at the striker position, which I think you alluded to now, but we needed to add there. And I hope we continue to add. I hope this isn't it, because then with the transfer out of another guy later on, I think we're too thin there in my eyes, but love to see someone of Leo's caliber coming in here and seeing what he can do in the USL.
Yeah, you can take that outgoing striker move if you want to next.
I'm a little empty, and I want to pour one a little bit more. I need a celebratory drink here.
Right. How many drinks are you rocking there? Because you had the espresso, you've probably got a water, and then a glass of wine too.
Don't worry about how many drinks I'm having.
Okay, I've got 2.
All right, so cheers to Kano for this move, for getting rid of this bum who had an awful year last year. What did he do last year? Outside of
Chico Julio.
The Chico Julio or Chico, I give him credit. That was amazing, and I will forever be grateful for that and for the goal he scored in the postseason. But he had every opportunity to put his mark on this team and in this league after becoming the Golden Boot winner and the league MVP. He had an up and down first season that was honestly a bit underwhelming. We came here last year on the Tide Talk show and both predicted that he was going to have a breakout year, because the weight would have been lifted off his shoulders of not being the reigning league MVP. And he wasn't good last year. And you can look at the stats and say, well, he was among the top of goal scorers or goal contributors, whatever. The team was ass last year. They couldn't fucking score. So like the fact that he wasn't higher up on that list is the problem. And he was a big reason why this team was sputtering offensively. So again, good guy. He's always been very kind whenever I've seen him. He's talked to my kids. He signed stuff for us. Like, this isn't anything about him as a person, but him as a player with the salary that he was likely commanding, which probably was the top on the team. I'm happy to unload that and better have that utilized somewhere else with players that can actually attack, that are more dynamic, that are not going to fall down every time the gust of wind comes off the Seekonk River. Like I want someone that can actually score, and he wasn't doing it. So I'm glad that we have those funds freed up. I hope we use them. We did a bit with Leo Alfonso here and with Augustin Rodriguez, but we need more new blood, because I was done with the Chico experiment.
So what was your grade, did you say?
Oh, yeah, I should say that as an A+. For the record, by the way, we did our keep, loan, sell at the end of last year, and we had the panel of the 5 of us, and I think it was just me and Ryan that said sell, which is shame on all of you for it only being the 2 of us.
Well, okay, but I think I only saw a lot of A+ in the chat. Matt Cameron had a C. That's where I'm going. I thought I would be more excited about this move when it was announced, and I did want this money off the books. I don't think he was the right guy to lead the line, but I knew that we weren't going to replace him, and we haven't. And I think it's going to be a problem because
it might be Leo.
is.
We don't know. It could be Leo.
Yes, but as we've talked about, like if Leo is the depth, then we're weak at other positions that Leo could be playing if he wasn't the backup for JJ. So I guess I would just wish that we adequately replaced Dequa if we were going to sell him. Ultimately, okay, I'm going to go C+ because I think it leans in the right direction for all the reasons that you said. He also did score. He had 9 goal contributions last season and 15 the season before that. That's not nothing. I know how frustrating he was. I watched it. I was mad about it too.
USL 1 opponent goals contributions did he have?
Those were league goals, dickhead.
League 9?
Yes. No, goals and assists, goal contributions.
Okay. Still, again, I think that's more of I think that's more of an indictment on the overall team of lack of offensive fireworks than it is about him. And he's always
I agree.
In bunches. Like he scores in bunches, but there were very few bunches. There was like 2 bunches. Like it just wasn't enough.
That's 24 goals and assists over 2 seasons. For what he was getting paid is not what we assume he was getting paid is not enough, but it's not nothing either. It's really not.
Let me ask you.
And then Chico Julio.
If you were running a team and you laid out your budget, and the biggest piece of that budget was attributed to a league MVP and Golden Boot winner who did not contribute nearly enough for his salary, would you want to keep him around and say, yeah, he's all right? I mean, he scored 9 goals, so it's not that bad. Or would you be like, no, I'd rather go use those funds elsewhere? We don't know how those funds are being used. And I'm sure this team hasn't been shy about using funds mid-season to bring in new acquisitions. We don't know what acquisitions are going to come. They could be withholding stuff there. So, like, I think that this frees them up, that the shackles are off the team now to go and build in the right way. And even if it isn't a direct 1-for-1 replacement for Dequa, I think that his salary probably weighed them down too much. And I'm honestly I was sick of watching him. I was sick of watching him play. So A+.
I was sick of watching him play until October when he started doing Chico Julio, and then I loved watching him play. But we'll move on. We'll move on to the next one here. This is just a straight up A+ for me. Nick Scardina is going to be our new right wing back, as best we can tell. He's really played everywhere on the right side. He's played as a right-sided forward. He's played as a traditional right back. I think most recently last season he was with Charlotte in MLS, and he was playing as like a traditional right back. But he's played across that entire side. I assume it will be a right wing back for us. This is finally the true Steven Turnbull replacement, which we never had last season. I think this was our biggest position of need. And I think this is going to be like a Hugo-like impact when we see him actually hit the pitch and play for us. I think he's going to be a huge addition to the team. Very excited. Where do you land on it?
Same grade, same reasoning, with the added reason, which might be equal to the ones that you laid out, that it frees up my favorite player and our best talented player, Clay Holstead, to play in a more natural position. I will lose my goddamn mind if Clay's playing out of position now, because this is the biggest piece that we were missing that forced Clay to get pulled into different spots that we didn't want to see him play. So given Nick Scardina's pedigree and his background, again, we've never actually seen him play with our own eyes. We don't really know what he is, but what our expectations are of what he's supposed to be in the role that he fills. There was a massive need for the team that really should unlock Clay. And I think putting Clay into the right spot makes a huge difference to the rest of the team. I think this team will perform much better just by putting Clay in a place that allows him to best utilize his skills. So for that, A+, because it solves 2 problems. It solves the whole problem, and it solves the Clay's in that right position problem. Also, just really quickly, sorry.
Go ahead. Yeah.
As I say, I think it's Entrick and Raising Anchor said on the Chico thing, we cleared heavy salary and got some transfer monies from trades. It was good business. So I that's part of the soup of why I like this deal, but that's a huge part of it. So
nice. I absolutely don't see that comment, so I apologize. That's helpful. Appreciate it. On Scardina, as well, this was my additional comment about Jojea that I held at the time, was last season we were so one-sided because our right was such a disaster. Like, everyone knew we were coming down the left every single time for an attack. And I actually think that it's going to help Jojea on the attacking side on the left having a competent right side. And between Leo and Scardina and potentially other new signings, I also think that's going to help get the best out of Quizera.
Honestly, with the Leo Afonso signing, I was hoping that he was going to be the right winger. Like it feels like Georgia's there on the left, but if we add more on the right side, then maybe it does free up Quizera to be more of the player that we saw at the end of 2024. So I agree, having a balanced attack will be better off, and I'm hoping it's not just going around the sides and crossing in, but maybe there's going to be more of some more verticality in their game and just more working the ball up the pitch through the middle. Now that there is some balance there, instead of just trying to keep everything onto one side.
Yep. How about, I think you wrote this blog for Jacob Castro, the new backup keeper.
I did, yeah. Truthfully, watching the little that I could see out of him, he wasn't extremely impressive, to the point where I was wondering, because at that point they hadn't signed Will Meyer yet, and I was wondering, is there a chance that this is actually the third string goalkeeper? I figured he was probably the second string keeper, just given who he was and how this team has treated that third goalkeeper spot in the past. So I'll give this one, I don't know, a C+. Like, it's also hard. Like, we love Jackson Lee. He was probably as good of a backup keeper as you could ask for in this league. He can be a starter in the majority of the rest of the league. So to go from that to someone else is always going to be a hit to take, but we were expecting it. I'm glad that we got a second year out of him. We'll miss him. So anyone that they bring in there is going to feel like a step down. From what I saw from Jacob Castro, it wasn't super impressive, but he's young, and like goalkeepers just develop more slowly in terms of their progression and their skill set than other positions. So he could end up being someone really solid. Like, it's not like I'm upset about it. I just don't know enough to know what he looks like. And honestly, I'm hoping that we don't see him this year, aside from maybe some cup games. Like, Coca's had some injury spells the past couple of years, so you got to figure we'll probably see Castro at some capacity, but I'm hoping we don't. And I'm hoping we can sit here a year from now wondering if he's any good or not, because we haven't seen him play much.
Yeah, I mean, I share all of that sentiment. Like, the thing that stood out to me when I was looking up his past was like he was what's the Tacoma Defiance? Is that the MLS Next Pro team he was playing with? Always had good seasons, but his goalkeeping stats were like middle of the pack, which was slightly concerning to me. I'm gonna go C. I'm also a little nervous because I think his first big test, assuming we're gonna use him for cup games, his first big test is gonna be Hartford away for the Jägermeister or the Prinks Tire USL Cup.
It could be St. Patrick's Day. He might be playing in that U.S. Open Cup game.
Is there any chance Will Meyer starts the Open Cup game?
No,
I'm saying no, because I think to your point, I think you get a game in Castro's legs, and then again, I'm nervous about the Hartford one. I'm nervous about it if Koke's in net too. I'm just nervous about that game.
We also don't know if Kano's going to treat the cup games in the same way that he did last year, because Jackson Lee was a very good backup who essentially commanded more time because of how good he was and the fact that they were trying to develop him and then ultimately potentially sell him. So they needed to get him time. Depending on where he is in his development, I can't. It's hard to say how he's going to be treating the cup games overall, particularly against Hartford, but against Fiolins, who is in like the Bay State League or whatever it is. Like, I could very well see Castro that being a good opening spot for him, especially since the midweek game between our first and second match. That seems like a natural spot to play him. I agree with Entrican there. I have a really hard time seeing Will Meyer starting over him, considering the background that Castro had and probably what he was looking for in order to sign up for a team like this.
Yeah,
I agree, totally, John. Score some damn goals. Are you talking about Castro? Because he might be better than Decoy. We don't know.
Yeah. Oh, actually, one more. Castro looks like he's got great hair game. I've seen a lot of pictures, a lot of different hairstyles, and I'm looking forward to tracking that this season.
Nice. There you go.
So yeah, next player on the list. This is the lone Matt Hands blog of the offseason. I don't know how he got away with that. But so Augustine, aka Pity Rodriguez. This is an interesting one. 21 years old and it's a loan. I'm confused. I'm confused by it in some ways. I think if it's a loan, we've got to be expecting him to make an immediate impact, or I'm expecting that that he's expected to play and to contribute this season. I don't think that we would have gone through the trouble of bringing it's from the Cypriot League, I believe.
He was on loan there, right? And then they canceled that.
You're
loan.
right.
Yeah.
You are right. You are right. Yeah. And that team was not doing well at all, and they weren't playing him. So presumably his parent club wanted to find him more game time. So I'm assuming we're going to see a decent amount of this player, and based on that, I'm excited. I also think he's a Argentina youth national team player, so probably some promise there. I'm hoping to see like some flair. I'm excited for it. I don't know exactly where he's going to play. I know Kano referenced him as an attacking addition, so probably one of those two forwards playing off of JJ.
It's an interesting one because I kind of took it as like an attacking midfielder and maybe playing a cam position, but then I don't know where Noah fits in with this. If you have Leo and JJ and presumably Quazera there, like there's a lot of attacking talent there, which is great because I think that we were a little bit underpowered, and we needed a little bit more creativity and attacking flair. I love the fact that they've been kind of dipping into the South American pool. One of the items that's not listed here, which makes me very sad, is Andreas Andrada, who announced that he was leaving, that he was coming to Rhode Island, and then it just never materialized for one reason or another. So he was another Argentina national. At the time, I wrote that he was like the first South American that they were bringing in. And now I kind of get him and Pity confused, and I think about their background. But I think Andrade was more on like a right wing back spot, whereas Pity Rodriguez is more that attacking midfielder or winger spot. So we know that kind of likes his versatility. So maybe he's just one of those versatile players that can play any of those positions, and adding some South American flair in terms of the academy that it came from, the style that he presumably plays. The way he grew up playing the game, it's going to be different than what we have here. And you add that in with Leo and some of these other guys. I'm excited to see kind of what more creative passing or attacking modes they're going to have to try to create goals, because they were just very predictable and stagnant last year. So I'm really excited for this one. You give this one a B+. I'm giving this one an A-. Again, my goal going into this offseason was fill the right wing back spot, get a right winger, and get more attacking prowess in there, and it feels like these last few have hit on that.
Yeah, the only thing keeping me from going an A is this being a loan. Like maybe there's like an option to buy or some kind of spoken agreement. We don't know the specifics of the deal, but it's going to be kind of a bummer if this 21-year-old comes in and he's amazing for us and he's just gone at the end of the season for nothing. But we'll see.
So the one thing that concerns me, and I think I wrote this in the Andrada vlog that will never be released, I find that at least in Europe, when you have players that are coming from South America to Europe, there's an adaptation period that happens. Like the way of life is very different. The style of soccer that they're playing is very different. Like, and generally these are kids, right? He's 21 years old. So you're moving out for the first time. For him, I guess he wasn't in Cyprus. This will be the second time he's going somewhere. But there is an adaptation period there. And if it is a loan, could it be that we're not really seeing him contribute to the team in a meaningful way until later on in the season? He might have to build up to that. He just gets used to a new life and coming from Argentina and going into the fucking nasty winter weather that we have here and learning how to play with the system and the facilities and all that stuff. So I'm going to slow my roll in terms of putting any sort of judgment on how he is as a player until at least mid-season, because it could take a while before he builds up.
Yeah, fair enough. And to Ryan asking if we've ever seen him kick a ball, no. But as we stated, the fact that he's being brought in as a loan, as a 21-year-old, as a second loan when the original team wouldn't play him, implies to me that we're planning to play him. And that makes me think that there's something there and that they're expecting him to be a contributor. So
I can't imagine someone who played for one of the youth national teams in Argentina is still playing for them, I think. He needs time. Like, he will not go anywhere where he is. If you are on a track to play for your national team, you need to be somewhere where you can play. He will not come here if he's going to ride the bench all year.
Agreed. Okay, so I think we can do probably all three of these last ones relatively quickly, but re-signing Will Meyer. For me, I'm going to go A minus. Again, roster continuity is good. We need a third keeper who's not really going to play, but is part of the team to round out that core. The only thing keeping me at an A minus and not an A is I liked Matt Kerwin's suggestion in the last episode of there must always be a Rhode Islander at third goalkeeper for Rhode Island FC. So he's not from Rhode Island. That's the only little ding that he gets, but I like this move.
Yeah. Yep. Same here. We've never seen him really play either. So it's like we don't know what he's got. So happy to bring him back. And again, hopefully we don't have to see him play because that would imply some bad things about the first two keepers in front of him.
Yeah. You want
yeah. I'm Amanda Mabika. I really liked him. I loved him as a defender. I was surprised that he was on the list to return initially because it just felt like someone that had previously been at the MLS that felt like a staple for this team, and then he completely fell off after that Indy 11 game where he got a red card late on. He never got a starting role back, and then with the rise of Hamadi Diop, it felt like he probably wasn't going to get the playing time that he wanted. So I'm not surprised to have seen it gone. I loved him there. He would have been great depth, but I understand why he wouldn't want to be here anymore. So I'll give that one a B just because I want him here. I'm sad he's gone, but it felt like it needed to happen.
I'm going D. I hated this. I think it was Tyler Hatch, I'm pretty sure, who suggested in one of our chats, like probably Mabika was returned for next season under the agreement that like we would look for a move for him, and when we couldn't find him one, maybe it was just because it wasn't a transfer, it's just a mutual termination. But I just hate this because I thought he was a really high end depth center back. Like this is an incredibly luxurious fourth or fifth center back to have, and I also think we're really thin. Like if Yao or Diop gets injured, so how I keep saying it is we're basically 1 to 2 injuries away from Clay or Haravel playing center back, and we will all lose our minds.
Yeah, and we've seen that already. Like that there are just injuries on that back line. So I agree with you. It just something had to give. Like he's I think he's too good to be playing that sort of like depth piece role. So I hated it as well, but I would have been surprised if that's the role that he would have entered this year with.
Yeah, I just wish that he could have seen that he is 1 injury away from playing 2,000 minutes for us this season. Yeah. Like I wish he would have seen that, but I understand. Hated the move though. And then Ndongo, I mean, Tyler wrote a great article about this also on the old TideTalkRI.com. This was just a confusing one because it was billed to us as sort of like this is what the club wants to do, is bring in this young foreign talent, develop it, potentially sell it on, has potential to play in MLS or in Europe. And we had him for a couple of in-season months, and then we sold him. I hope that we got a good fee. We don't know, so it's kind of hard to evaluate how good of a move this was. It kind of feels like I'm gonna put you on the spot. Who there was a player that the Celtics drafted, and then they traded him to Indiana, or he signed with Indiana, and like he lights us up every time now, and he's such a jerk about it. Well, while you give your thoughts, I'll look it up just to complete the reference.
Green, is it? No, it's not green.
No,
yeah, I don't know.
No.
Well, do you have a grade here?
I'm just gonna go C because like I almost don't even know what to make of it.
Yeah. So I wish I can give this an incomplete because his tenure here was incomplete, and our information about this is incomplete. When you're bringing in someone that young from a different continent, Aaron Naismith, that's right. Okay, so you're thinking more recently, yeah.
This is what I'm worried is going to happen when Miami comes to play. Like Ndongo is just going to, for some reason, have a crazy grudge and just like light us up.
Yeah, I just questioned to bring in a player from where he came from, a different continent. Like there's got to be a pretty decent cost in terms of the recruiting that went into it, the scouting, and then the contract negotiation, probably visas, all that shit. You bring him in. He's super young. He's clearly very underdeveloped physically. He didn't contribute anything at the end of last year, as you shouldn't, because he was brought into the team really late in the year. So the idea always was he was going to develop here, and then we'll see what happens. Maybe we sell him on for a fee, or maybe he's here for a few years. Like it was hard to know exactly what it was going to be, but no one expected he'd be sold before the beginning of the next season. So it's incomplete either in that they didn't do a good enough job scouting, and he ended up not being what they thought he was, or it was too early to know what that scouting was, and they just gave up on him really soon. Or someone just came in and just gave him a fee and they said, screw it. Which, if that case, if someone's coming in and offering big money, then stick to your original plan of having him stay here and develop and see what he's going to turn into. So it's really hard without knowing what they paid for him and what they got for him. But it just feels like this was like a half-baked plan that didn't really come to fruition. But at the same time, if it turns out we made like a shitload of money on this transfer, then it's hard to fault them. But I'm more likely now within the realm of options that they would have considered when they did bring him in here. So for that, I'll give it a D. But it's just like it really should be an incomplete. But I just don't know what else to say. Dude went down to IMG and never left. Yeah, but what does that mean? Like, does that mean that he knocked it out of the park and Miami saw him and was like, hey, we got to go get that guy? Or was kind of just ready to leave him at IMG because he realized this guy's not going to be able to contribute? Like, I want to know why we transferred him out. Is it money? Is it underperformance? Or is it overperformance? Like, which one was it?
Or is it just that Miami has no players on their roster and needed what they could get? But this does suck given, the other, like, we're short on forwards, essentially, again.
But did you expect more contributions this year? Like, I didn't. I expected zero.
No. I didn't expect any.
Yeah, so.
But I like having a name on the depth chart behind JJ.
Yeah, it's fair.
But yeah, so as folks noted, we had an incredibly technically complex auto-calculating GPA here. I'm actually stunned that you ended up higher than me, Andrew. With you came out at 2.85. I don't know, probably the math is jacked up and I did it wrong, but yeah,
that's actually shocking to me. I was not expecting that.
Well, you had 3 A+ in a row. Afonso, Dikwa out, and Scardina. So I think that's true. What really
that's what did it. Yeah. I was looking at the Mabika one. Maybe I graded that too highly considering I didn't want him to go and I actually really liked him as a player. But yeah, it's those moves in the middle that did it in. So all right. I guess I'm really high on the team this year, huh?
I am. I think I'm very excited about our new signings.
Yeah.
So kick it back to you.
All right. That was a fun exercise. Give us your feedback here. What did we get wrong here? What do you think about some of these moves? What were your favorites? Hit us up in the Discord or in the chat here. All right.
Time for the club collector code.
Club collector code. What is our count up to? We're over 15?
We are.
Is that 16? Let me refresh the page here.
I got 19.
19. Oh, I have 18.
People have been we've been getting hammered for not sharing it right away when it hit 15.
Watch, we're going to give this code out and it's going to drop down to like 2. All right. So Club Collector, if you guys haven't played this game yet, so this is Craig that runs this and does a phenomenal job, and he iterates on it every year. And this is what the new set of cards look like if you haven't seen it already. The new league season started yesterday, and these cards look great. So he's done a great job with that. And there's a few new features that he added in for this year. So go check out the page if you haven't seen it already. And just really quickly, there's a new challenger mode game mode that he added. There's a new a change to the champion game rules. Obviously, you have these new card sets. The way the pack generation system works has been slightly reconfigured, so that actually changes your odds a little bit in terms of potentially getting more good cards in your daily packs. And then there's also some dynamic pricing. So there's a lot of good stuff in there. Go check out the news section of the website. And then for those of you who want the code, it is Up the Tide 26. So all caps, Up the Tide 26, no spaces. And that will get you a special bonus pack here for sticking around and giving us your thumbs up. And please don't take away the thumbs up. Just leave it there.
Have you pulled any good cards yet in your first 2 days of pack openings?
Did that too soon. I gave away our secrets there. Yeah. So yeah. So I had one that I liked right away, and that was a rare Hamadi Diop card. So that was my big one. Then I got a few other.
Oh, that's huge.
Yeah. So no wicked rares yet, but a rare for Diop, I'll take that all day. What about you?
I've horrible pack luck for me. Because I bought a few rare packs, but I got a rare Karifa Yao, which is a sneaky big card.
Solid, yeah.
And then I got a limited Clay Holstead, and those are really my only two like above common usable cards. But I think tomorrow, so part of the new season is buying packs. Once you buy a certain number within that game week, the price increases. So like I would have to pay more right now to buy more rare packs, but I think it resets tomorrow. So I almost bought more today for 1,000 caps because I was being impatient, but I'm going to wait. Tomorrow I'm going to buy 2 more and I should have some better cards. Actually just give me your rare D-up.
Give you what do you
just give it to me.
No, just give it straight up.
Just give it to me. Yeah. No, I just want it.
No. But this other part of the year is fun though. So if you start now, obviously the first game is in just less than 3 weeks. Please start to build up your collection there so that you have more options when the games do start for real. And then new added elements here with dynamic pricing and the way the card generation goes. So yeah, I know, Hands, that you got a wicked rare. Go fuck yourself, man. Yeah. All right, next one.
And people are mentioning, and we should, like, it's free. The entire game is free. This is like a full-blown digital card collecting fantasy game that you can play. Costs absolutely nothing. It's a lot of fun.
Yep, and it's rifc.clubcollector.com. Definitely free. And then really my favorite part of it is less on the collecting and more on just the match day contest, which is, I think you and I both finished top 5 last year, I want to say. And the top 10, I think Ty Talk took down like maybe half of it.
I finished top 2, but
top 2. I think I might have been right behind you, but I did have that one week where I couldn't submit rosters, so that was the difference in the end. Cool. All right. So for those of you that got a hint of the next slide here, so our final segment here, we have Kano out sitting in the chair there. So this is not saying that we want Kano out. It was just it dominated our discourse last year as the team was struggling. So the question is, he is back this year. They're committed to him for probably a while. But you personally, how do you feel about how the season needs to shake out and what those checkpoints might be before you start to go back in the Kano out train? I think a few people in the chat are probably there now already, which I think is unfair. So if you just look at some of these stats last year, underwhelming record, 1.27 points per game, only winning 10 out of 30 games. We're going to get started for this. Ryan, do you see all the way to the left there too? That's the best piece that Timmy had in there. Finished 7th in the Eastern Conference. He really didn't sneak in. We were out of the playoffs for a good chunk of the season. Snuck in there at the end. Home record ended up being 6-5-4, which wasn't too bad, but still less than half of the games at home that we won. Very poor away record, and then just under 1 goal per game. Like, it was a rough season, despite how it ended up shaking out in the playoffs. So the question is, at what point or what needs to happen before you start to start thinking along the lines of you might want to see Kano go? I'm going to start with you.
Yeah. First of all, just to reiterate, we really just wanted to do the graphic for the bit. Neither of us are Kano out. I'm sure someone will like clip this. Yeah. Not us explaining it, just the picture and send it to him. We are not Kano out. This was what are your red flags and or like measures for success for the season, where you would start to be worried. So I've been looking at it a lot as our first 10 league games of the season. What do I want to see? 7 of our first 10 league games are at home, and I think we should win 5 of those. For the season, if we can increase that 23 points at home to 30 points at home, we would have finished 3rd last season. So if we could just honestly just improve the home record, that's good enough for me. Win more games at home, score more goals at home, send everyone home happy and feeling like they saw a good, entertaining game. That's pretty much good enough for me. And hold the away record. I would like to see the away record better as well. Don't lose every game on the road and win at home. But for me, like, that's a pretty simple vibes measure of success. Just be incrementally better at home. I don't think that's asking an incredible amount.
You're saying that you want to see them win 5 of the first 7? Well, obviously, I want to see them win 7 out of 7. But in terms of when you start to jump on the Kano out
at home, at home,
but 5 of the first 7, that's a very high win rate even at home.
No, I guess. Well, so let's say what the first 7 games are. You tell me how many you think we should win. We have Loudoun, Jacksonville, Detroit, Charleston, Birmingham, Tampa, Brooklyn.
Bro, I have no fucking idea. Like, I don't know what these teams have done. Like, we thought Birmingham was going to be good last year. They were trash. We thought we were going to be great last year. We were trash. Like, I don't know what any team is. So it's like I'm looking at most of them kind of equally. And like, aside from like the Louisvilles of the world, I don't know what these teams are yet.
I think those are all pretty winnable games. I think Tampa should be tough. I don't think that we will win every single one of them. I'm just telling you what I would like to see.
I understand that's what you want to see or would like to see, but
so what's you're asking? What's my red flag? Flags.
You're telling me 7 home games in, they've won 4 out of the 7. Even if they lose, 4 wins, 3 losses, no ties. You're saying Connor probably needs to go?
No. 10. Well, first of all, I think the USL Cup is significant. I think if we lose that first game against Hartford, it's looking dire. I think if we lose the second group stage game at Portland, that's really bad. And that competition's over if we lose the first 2 games there. So that's one measure. And then, so first 10 league games, I mean, what do you, 15 points? Are you comfortable with 15 points?
15 points. So
from 10 games.
10 games.
So that's a third of the season? That's a 1.5 points per game.
Yeah.
Third.
I think that's fine. See, I'm looking at it less on just like pure output and more on just how the team is looking. Like I would look, for me, I'm not on the Connor train. I would want to see him have pretty much all year to right the ship. I'm okay with a slow start a la 24 if it works, if it looks like they're working towards something. Like what I need to see is progression. I need to see that this team is improving. I need to see that they figured out how to attack, how to score goals, and that they're actually have a plan in place that we can see and can feel good about. I want them to be competitive. I don't want them to treat this most of the regular season as an extension of the preseason, which is what it felt like last year. If they do all those things and they're not a great team, but they're a competitive team, and we feel pretty comfortable about their odds of getting in the playoffs, I'm okay with that as a stepping stone, and hopefully they build up through the end of the year. I think they need to be pretty bad throughout the majority of the season for me to be kind of wow. I think I would need to see them mid-year below the playoff line, languishing, not being able to score goals, basically what we were last year. If we have a repeat of last year and we're mid-year through 3/4 of the way through the season, then I'll jump on that train. But until then, I just want to see that there's improvement, that there's a plan, and specifically that Kano has learned from his mistakes from last year in terms of his tactical setup, in terms of his roster construction, in terms of his adaptability in finding answers when the team isn't playing well. I need to see those things improve. If those things are happening, but the results aren't quite near that, I'm not as fussed about it as long as they're relatively comfortable on the playoff line.
Yeah, I'm generally on board with that. I also like this sentiment from RA that we've scored 12 goals so far in the offseason.
It's a good sign.
So it's a good sign. It's a good sign.
Yeah, I really wish we could watch them play. Matt, can you do something about that? Just show us, just have them air one preseason game. Like I'm dying. It really hurts me that we won't be able to see this team in any capacity play until March 7th when the game actually counts. Like I just want to see how they're set up. I want to see what these players look like and what positions they're in. It just sucks that we can't do that until match 1.
Yeah, agreed. But,
all right.
The trial of 7 is getting near.
That was going to be my sign off. Fucker, he took it from me. All right.
Ryan just said it too.
Oh, did he? All right. So that wraps up tonight's episode of Double Pivot. As we always do, I'm going to ask Timmy for his first rating of the season before he even gets his first player rating season out. Timmy, how would you rate tonight's performance?
This is always the hardest part of the episode. And now I can't remember what I've scored us in the past, but I think I'm going to go 6 out of 10. No technical issues, which is always good. I think I was a little slow on the chat, but that's more of a testament to chat was buzzing tonight, which we always love to see. So thank you for everyone who was hanging out. I'll go 6 out of 10. How do you feel about that?
I feel like that's low considering this is our first. I mean, this is our.
That's what I do. Right? That's what I always do.
Yeah, this is our first one. I mean, I feel like it deserved a classic Timmy 7 out of 10. We were batting under 500 last year for technical difficulties. We are batting 1,000 so far this year. Like this is a market improvement. We really took the offseason to dissect the tape, to really reflect on our mistakes, and hopefully kind of do the same. And we're coming back strong for this year.
You froze for it was probably like half a second, and my entire life flashed before my eyes, thinking that was going to happen again. I was petrified.
Mark my words. At some point this season, I'm going to be talking to you in the pre-show. You're going to hit the go live button, and I'm just going to fucking close my computer. and then
Please
just
no.
see what happens.
I'm
gonna reappear, and I'm not gonna be there. So awesome. Yeah. So thank you very much, everybody. Just a reminder, Tide Talk is more than just podcasts. We put a ton of content out there for you guys. We obviously have daily social media content on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And then all those signings that we went over in the offseason report card, if you're curious to learn any more about those, we pretty much have a blog for every single one of those. So make sure you check those out, tidetalkri.com. Once the season's underway, you can expect to find a lot more content, including Timmy's player ratings. We'll have pre- and post-match match analyses and reactions from Mr. Matt Hands, the pre-match essentials from Patrick McKenna, my monthly Tide Talk blog series, Tyler Hatch's monthly stat-driven Under the Surface series that he started up at the end of last year, which is excellent. Please check that out. And then written takes on all the RAFC news, like the David Peart thing. Go check out that link. Check out the report that it got linked to. Opinion blogs and everything else. So thank you for everyone for being on the chat tonight, for supporting us. Really looking forward to this year. Thanks for taking the time to watch, listen, and we'll see you next time, everybody. And as always,
next Sunday, Matt and Ryan will be back on next Sunday.
Yes.
So the flagship's back next Sunday.
You won't get bootleg Matt and Ryan anymore. You'll get the real Matt and Ryan.
Yeah.
And we're edging closer to the start of the season here, so we are excited. Edging. Yeah. That was. Thank you for letting that be a very subtle joke. So appreciate you all. Excited for this year, and as always, up the tide.
Up the tide.